Welcome back to Moose on the Loose. My name's David. Today, we've got a speech here from Pierre Poilievre. He is absolutely dropping truth bombs on Justin Trudeau regarding the carbon tax, regarding climate change. It's very interesting to hear him talking about climate change and just bringing the heat. Let's get into this. Now, this was shot in March 8th in BC at the Vancouver Board of Trade Conference. Pierre gives a pretty long speech, but there's some new kind of info and facts he's gotten here regarding climate change here in this kind of about 8-minute segment here towards the beginning of his speech.
I'm calling on NDP Premier David Eby and Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh to cancel the April 1st carbon tax hike, spike the hike, and axe the tax.
Spike the hike. I like it.
This is a tax that, by the way, targets small businesses. One reason I chose this association to speak to is because you represent a lot of small businesses, entrepreneurial, bottom-up enterprises. There are BC actually has good associations for business. You guys represent the entrepreneurial sector, unlike some of their other corporate centers where they're focused on representing large protected corporations. You have entrepreneurial bottom-up businesses who are getting hit exceptionally hard. There has been no rebate for the carbon tax for small businesses. In fact, in BC, there's no rebate for anyone. But small businesses are going to pay this tax without having any compensation. And of course, they often, Trudeau will say, pass it on to consumers. Well, in some cases, you can't, because you're up against foreign competitors who don't pay the carbon tax. In other words, this tax is forcing our businesses to send their money and their jobs to other countries from whom we will import those things back to Canada. Let me give you a very simple example of this. Suntech Tomatoes in Manotick, in south of Ottawa, they grow tomatoes, as the name would suggest. They have greenhouses, and Trudeau charges the carbon tax on the CO2 they release into the greenhouse, even though that CO2 is absorbed by the plant life. Apparently he missed that day in science class. It doesn't even go into the atmosphere. So the consequence of this is the government sends a price signal to Manotick customers to buy Mexican tomatoes, which have to be shipped right across North America, burning fossil fuels on trucks and trains. So the consumer buys the more polluting foreign tomato at the disadvantage of the greener and cleaner Canadian tomato. We are sending our jobs and our money to other more polluting countries in the process.
That whole premise is absolutely ridiculous. The fact they're charging based on carbon, even though it's being used in greenhouses, this is just stupid liberal crap as usual. The liberals need to go. They absolutely need to go.
In fact, the solution to fight climate change is to do precisely the opposite, to bring it home to our clean and our environmentally responsible industries in this country. Let me give you an example of how we can do that. Natural gas. We have 1,300 trillion cubic feet of natural gas beneath our feet. We have clean hydroelectricity, cold weather, which allows us to liquefy it with 25% less energy than is used in the United States of America, because after all, converting gas into a liquid is a process of cooling it down. And what do we have in Canada? Our most abundant natural resource is cold weather. That you don't know anything about that in British Columbia, so no complaining from any of you. But you have no idea how cold it gets in Ottawa. In fact, last winter it was so cold, Justin Trudeau was seen with his hands in his own pockets.
That's pretty good.
Think about the incredible opportunity we have here. So, we have LNG Canada, approved by the previous Harper Conservative government. $40 billion, the biggest project in Canadian history of any kind, public or private. It will reduce millions of tons of greenhouse gases because it will be the lowest emitting facility in the world, and it will displace megawatts generated by coal in Asia. Now, this is the solution to reducing greenhouse gases. The biggest reduction in North America in greenhouse gases happened not because of a carbon tax in Canada, but because of the massive conversion of electrical facilities in the United States from coal to natural gas due to the fracking revolution. In the United States, the U.S. shifted from coal to gas. U.S. electricity produced 2,544 million metric tons in 2005. That reduced down to 1,724 metric tons of greenhouse gases. That's a 32% reduction in the amount of GHGs coming from the American electrical grid as a direct result of shifting from coal to natural gas. National Bank points out that if we were able to sell our natural gas to India, and we were able to replace their plan to double coal-fired electricity and instead use natural gas, it would reduce emissions so much that it would be the equivalent savings of 4 years of the total emissions of the entire Canadian economy. So get this straight. Of all the emissions we produce in 1 year, we could do 4 times those reductions by simply helping India expand its electrical generation using gas instead of coal.
That is absolutely outrageous, and that's just one country. Obviously, one of the biggest population on Earth, India. I think 1.6 billion. They've got a lot of people, but still, even if we were doing this across multiple other nations, obviously Germany came to us, wanted gas, so did Japan. If we were actually a nation that was outputting tons of natural gas, it would reduce emissions around the planet. I'm guessing Trudeau and Liberals know this. They're just, the whole carbon tax thing is a scam. They're not actually they're using the eco-green climate change crap as a way to get voters, to sucker people in. They don't actually care about the environment. There's a million different ways that are proving that, but this right here, one simple thing, reducing our emissions 4 times just by selling our gas to India, it's like, come on, man.
The 5th biggest supply of gas anywhere on Earth. We have the shortest shipping distance to both Asia and Europe. And we have the clean hydroelectricity in BC, Newfoundland, and Cpac with which to liquefy and compress that gas. We have the Germans who asked us to send them our natural gas. So did the Japanese. Trudeau told them there was no business case. Well, nobody told the Americans there was no business case. They built 7 liquefaction facilities in the last 8 years. Nobody told the Qataris. They've doubled their production and just signed a 3.5 million metric ton deal with the French. Nobody told the Germans. They just built an import terminal from concept to completion in 194 days, during which time we have not completed a single solitary export plant. My common sense plan will repeal C-69 and grant rapid permits to environmentally friendly and strategically important projects like LNG facilities. We will cool that gas to minus 161 degrees Celsius, ship it off to Asia to shut down dirty Asian coal fire plants, and send it off to Europe to turn dollars for dictators into paychecks for our people in this country. Bring it home.
I mean, what he's saying here is just like, it's common sense. Like, if the Liberals actually cared about climate change, they would be doing all of this stuff. That they're doing nothing. They're not even measuring what the carbon tax is doing, because it's doing nothing. It's doing nothing. They're not planting more trees. They're doing nothing. They're just stealing our money.
And we will speed up mining. We will speed up mining. Right now, it takes 18 years to get a mine approved in Canada. 40% longer in Canada than in the United States of America. 2 years longer than the average of major mining countries. That's why we do not produce any of the lithium that goes in the electric car batteries that you see in Teslas and other cars driving around our streets. We have the 5th biggest supply of lithium on Earth, and we only have one operational mine, which, by the way, Trudeau sold to China, so that they can take our mineral and upgrade it and send it back to us after they've burnt a lot of coal to do it. Somehow this is supposed to be good for our environment. We should be the fastest place to grant responsible mining permits so that we can harvest these resources here in this country. And that's what we will do in order to allow for electrification. It is by green-lighting green projects like that. We should also speed up the approval of nuclear power. Clean, green, emissions-free, small modular nuclear reactors and can-do production will allow us to have solid emissions-free baseload production. It is through this energy abundance that we can bring down costs and emissions at the same time. But it will only happen if we repeal the insane anti-development laws that we have right now. Thank you. But let me be very clear with you. It will not be a free ride for the resource corporations who have proposed these projects and then sat back and done nothing to convince people of their benefits. They are going to have to stand up and fight. Because frankly, when I meet with resource companies in Ottawa, they come to Ottawa, and all they do is suck up to the Liberal government. They have no backbone and no courage, and they don't fight for their workers. I want to see corporate leaders actually fighting for their workers and fighting for the paychecks instead of sucking up to the very people who are blocking these jobs and destroying our working class. You know, I'll give you an example of this. There's another tax hike coming. All the taxes that are going up on April 1st, it's enough to drive a man to drink. But they're taxing that too. There's a beer tax going up on April 1st. So the Association of Beer Producers is running an ad, and they say in the ad that Ottawa is raising beer taxes. And so I asked one of the CEOs, I said, who is Ottawa? I've never met him. What does he look like? Handsome guy, tall, fluffy hair, baby blue eyes? Like, who is Ottawa? Why is the ad saying Ottawa is raising beer tax? Ottawa's not raising beer taxes. Justin Trudeau and the NDP are raising beer taxes. I know a lot of corporate leaders don't want to say things like that because they want to get along with everybody. But sucking up to the people who are doing the damage has only got us into this mess in the first place. So it's time for the business leadership to speak the truth and stop sucking up to the people who are doing the damage to our country. Because I can tell you the workers on the ground and the customers who are paying the bills, they're ready for their leaders to champion them at all levels, and that is what we will expect.
So there you heard it right from Pierre Poilievre. All we did was focus on natural gas and as a nation and shipping that out to big countries, big polluting countries that burn a lot of coal like India and China. We would drastically reduce greenhouse gases. What's interesting about coal too is since the Liberals have taken over and you got Stephen Guilbeault as the climate environment minister, coal exports have tripled under him. So what we see here is the metallurgical coal exports. This is coal used for burning to make electricity. The exports since Trudeau took power here, and this is where we are here. We got COVID right there. So it was going to be up like this. Obviously took a spike down. China being the biggest one. You've got Japan. We've got India in red. And we've got, what's this here? South Korea. Just looking back on what Pierre said about supplying India with coal and being 4 times the amount of carbon savings that we have, essentially 4 years of Canadian carbon levels. That's just India. Imagine if we were exporting to South Korea and China and Japan. I mean, you can throw in Taiwan too down here. Like, it's crazy. If we replace all this with clean natural gas, the whole situation is just, we have a corrupt government. That's what we got. We have a corrupt government. They're highly corrupt. They don't care about the environment. They don't care about us. They don't care about anything aside from whatever nefarious things they're doing to make money off our backs. And I think that one audio clip back in the day when they had that eco-green slush fund, the $1 billion slush fund, and there was that audio that was leaked from the Liberals. They're saying how it's just free money. That just keeps sticking in my head. The free money, the Liberals talking about free money, stealing it right off our backs, having a laugh. Is disgusting. These Liberals are disgusting what they're doing to our country. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about Pierre Poilievre's speech here regarding the climate change, his plan, and how long do you think this will take to start really changing Canada back? This is not going to be an overnight fix, and I do worry about what Jordan Peterson said, that people will revolt if he doesn't fix everything in the first 100 days. Like, he will axe a tax immediately, and some things will fix right away, but some things will just take time. And I really hope he gets really aggressive with immigration, cutting it off completely, and getting rid of corporate ownership of homes. We're going to need that along with all these other initiatives to get the jobs making money, to have the housing situation level out, and to have Canada stabilized, because it is going to implode at the current rate that it's going. And to wrap up this video on the same theme of the carbon tax, we have farmers in Quebec are now blocking roads. I appreciate they don't have Euro dance music on there as well. It makes it a little bit easier for me. It's great to see them join in the fight here. Obviously, it's got to be a little bit smaller scale across Canada. We're such a big country, but it'll be done more of a local thing. I suspect we'll see more and more different municipalities, farmers join in and start blocking city halls and all those kind of places to join the fight here against the carbon tax. So that's where I'm going to leave today's episode. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about Pierre Poilievre's climate plan here. Thanks for watching the end of the video. If you want to check out my merch, I'll have it linked down below, as well as my silent hiking video that I've put up recently that's linked up here. Stay warm, stay fed. I'll see you guys in the next one.